Hey there guys and girls, welcome back to our course on Tableau. In this session, we're going to finally be wrapping up bar charts. And the way that we're going to do that is by introducing the last and final iteration of a bar chart. And this one is actually a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to it and we're going to get right into it right here. What I want you to do is to take our profits by central region worksheet here and just go ahead and to the right of that, you will see this plus sign. I want you to right click this plus sign and click new worksheet. You can always go ahead and click the actual plus sign itself, but if you right click, you have a number of different options. So I want you to click new worksheet since that's what we're creating now. Okay guys and girls, so we now have a new worksheet and Tableau has already named it sheet 2 for us. Just for simplicity's sake, we can always rename that later. What we're doing in this session is we're going to be building out a stacked bar chart. Stacked bar charts in Tableau are nothing more than having a bar chart that allows you to break up that each individual bar by more types of information. So I'm going to stop talking about it. Let's get right into it. The first thing I want you to do is to take our sum of number of records and drop that onto columns. So go ahead and drop that sum of number of records measure here and drop that onto columns. And we see that we just created a horizontal bar. Next, I want you to take the region, and it's a dimension as we know, and that is a descriptive type field. Remember, this is the group by type of information, whereas the measures are the actual quantitative information. So as we can see, we now have a horizontal bar chart in which the region, which is the rows, we can see the individual regions, which are central, north, south, and west. And we are seeing a sum of number of records, which tells us the total number of items sold for each region. So as we can see in central, we have 225 number of records. In north, we have 225 as well. We have 252 in south, and we have a total of 238 in the western region. Now, the way bar charts work is that we want to break up each individual bar and show another piece of information within it by using colors. And the way that we can do that in Tableau is to use dimensions. So let's go ahead and think about it. What can we show for this central region in terms of additional information? Maybe we can see the number of records, 255. Maybe we want to see how many of each type of furniture we sold for this region as well as the others. And the way that we can do that is we can take the item sold, which is the name of the item, all right, and we can take that and drop it onto our color. And automatically what we see is that each individual bar is now broken up by the different type of items sold. So we can see curtains here are blue, that lamps are orange, we can see that rugs are red, and table is this cool teal color. And we also see that here in our legend up here. So now that we have broken down each region by each individual product that has been sold, the aggregate of this, all right, the sum of the number of records should equal the total, which in this case, if you remember correctly, was 255, okay? And now looking at this bar chart here, the stacked bar chart, what's another piece of information that we can add to this? How can we make this even more visually appealing and self-explanatory to our users? Now, the kind of issue that I'm speaking of is that you might run into a problem where you can see that Western, since it starts from 0 and goes up to 59, it's visually very apparent that it goes up to 59. And since Central is 77, it goes up to 77. But in the case of a rug, we can see that it starts from 60 and goes up to 120. So you kind of have to do the math here. We can see that 60, this one's pretty obvious. But in this case, where we are seeing this bar kind of start somewhere in the middle here, and we see it end somewhere ahead over here, we can see that 67, but that's not very apparent by looking at this in first view. So how can we make this more apparent? What I want you to do is to take the number of records sold, and I want you to drop them on label. All right, and what you will get now is that each individual item sold, the number for that region, all right, you will now find on the bar itself. And we're seeing that because we've dropped it on a text. And what that does is it affects whatever the view is. So we can see that the item sold is on color, so that made the colors separated by the different stacked bar charts. And we can see that the green number of records is the actual numerical value. Now, another thing we see here is that we only have numbers for west, we have numbers for north, all the way across the board. Well, what happened to central and south? We don't have any numbers, although the values are there because we see them right here in our tooltip. Now this is a visual design issue in Tableau that they don't automatically expand or shrink down these bars to accommodate the different types of information. So they kind of leave it up to you. So what I want you to do is to just find the west, the bottom of the bar of the west, I want you to drag that down a little bit. And what we did now is we expanded our view, and we can see that all of our numbers are now here. So basically it was just a formatting visual thing that Tableau pointed out to you that you don't see because your charts are simply not big enough to show all of the numbers per each individual bar. So they wanted to expand it so you have a little bit more real estate. So now we have all of the numbers. So these are the kind of design issues I want you to keep an eye out for when you're designing your workbooks, because it's very important that you don't have these kind of mistakes when you present this to a stakeholder or your team. We're going to give this worksheet a name, and what that is basically the number of items sold per region, right? So let's go ahead and rename sheet 2 to items sold per region. And now we see that our title is now changed. Let's go ahead and give this title a pretty cool looking thing here, shall we? Let's go ahead and highlight that sheet name and give it a blue color, okay? And apply that. Okay, we see that the item sold per region is now blue. Maybe we can even bold this and apply that so we now see that it's bold. And we can also take this and center it right here. And what you'll see is the title should come all the way to the right and show up somewhere in the middle. Okay, so now that we have that, we can go ahead and click OK. Now we can furthermore make this a bit more exciting. Let's go ahead and format the title here. And that's where we can add the shading for the background for the title. Okay, so what I want you to do is to come here, pick any color you'd like. For me, I'm going to go ahead and pick this light gray color and see how that looks. Maybe I can go a little bit lighter since our title is pretty dark. So we'll go ahead and leave that. Okay, and now we have a pretty good looking view here. So now let's go ahead and edit this number of records and format that axis. And since we are working with an axis, we want to go over to the axis tab and shade that a light gray as well. Okay. So we now have a pretty decent looking view, something that looks like we put the time in to make this look halfway decent. All right, guys, so that's basically all I have for stacked bar charts here. If you've understood this so far and you've been practicing along and following along, I just want to say I'm really proud of you guys, and I'm sure that by now you're getting a solid understanding of this course as well as the style of teaching that I have here, which is that I'm going to drive each point home in multiple ways and give you a backstory behind each piece of information. And although you might feel like this is sometimes repetitive, it's really important for the learning process that repetition is present, because that's when it really sticks in your head, right? So next time you're seeing a problem, you'll think of it multiple ways, since we are seeing them in multifaceted examples within this course. So if this helped you out, guys, I think that's absolutely fantastic, and I hope that the work that I'm putting in here is really shining and showing you guys that this is a great course for you. So that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap this lecture up, and we're going to get into an exciting new topic coming up in our next section here. This is all I got for bar charts, guys, and I will see you in the next section. Good job. I'm really proud of you. See you there.